it's us. We're talking Akawar.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Christine.
The other day I was cleaning, and as you can tell from my clean upstairs, I literally started humming your stupid Under the Mountain song.
Yes.
I was like, oh my god.
Under the mountain, the journey under the mountain.
Yeah, so it's really catching on.
To one person,
Yeah.
one other person.
Hey, someone out there.
Maybe after our Akamath and Akatar bonus episode, maybe there's other people out there that are also singing it.
Right? Hey, you never know.
Our sister's debt is paid. That one too goes through my head a little bit. Maybe because I listened to that mashup a little bit too many times.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're talking about, we have a bonus episode that's a mashup of our voices and then a lot of our clips from those books that we really liked. Anyway, success.
Yes.
Success. We are talking A Court of Wings and Ruin again today. We're going to do chapters 5 to 10.
Yes.
Or, sorry, 6 to 10, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Oopsie, 6 to 10. And you have the privilege of doing the drink today.
I do, and you actually ended up picking it, kind of, which I mean, it was kind of an obvious one. Smoky Harvest Apple Cider Margarita. Super curious how it's going to taste.
Okay, let's taste it first and then talk about it.
Cheers. Cheers.
You just gotta get past the rim part, right? To get to the drink.
Yeah, I put way too much rim stuff on it.
Mm.
I like it.
I like it too.
I'm not a big apple cider person, but I like that. And I
No.
did switch it because it did say to use just apple cider. I did not see just an apple cider, but I saw a sweet apple cider.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
I did some apple cocktail experimentations at my home, and I didn't like any of them, so I was really, really nervous. I'm like, I don't know if I just don't like apple drinks. Maybe that's it, because I did do one in our Akatar episodes that was,
right.
Wasn't it the Fireball? It was like a Fireball apple drink for Fire Night.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't love it.
No.
So you have actually made an apple drink that I like.
Yeah, I'm very surprised because I was really unsure, but I'm like, I've never had a margarita I didn't like.
Right. It doesn't taste that margarita-y because I think with margarita, I think heavy lime and heavy tequila taste. And so I don't get either. It is just a more subtle apple taste. And then obviously you get a lot of the cinnamon and salt around the rim, but it's still a really good drink.
To be fair, I didn't measure out the lime juice part. I just squeezed a whole lime. It says to fill it half a lime juice, and I just used an actual lime and just...
Okay.
So it could use a little bit more lime, but I do really like it.
You have to tell them why the apple drink.
So at the end of this portion, Feyre does eat an apple, and then... At first when I was reading it, I was like, did Christine pick an apple just because she's eating an apple in this part?
No.
But no, it ends up that it's poison.
Yeah.
It's a poison apple. And then ends up leading to a bunch of stuff that we will talk about.
Yeah.
But it ends up being a bigger thing. But yeah, at first I was like, so Feyre eats an apple and that's why Christine chose this?
No.
I was like, there was also a point where they were eating bacon.
No, the apple is important here.
Yes, it is a very important part of these next few chapters.
What are you going to name it?
Oh, shit. I think
Jamie.
Writing stuff down when I was... One of the things I really wanted to call it, it doesn't have to do with the apple part. I just wanted to call it Jurian Winks. That's just what the name of the drink is.
But Jurian winking doesn't... He's not involved in the...
I know, but I just really wanted to call a drink that because I feel like if you had to make a drinking game out of how much time in these next few chapters where it was just and Jurian Winks.
2 times?
I think it's 4. But I'm not going to call it that. I'll get back to you. I feel like it was something in here.
Yeah, like the twins' deceit. The poisoned apple. Feybane apple.
Feybane.
Hybern apple.
Feybane apple. No, that doesn't really roll off the...
You can just call it Feybane, I guess. Okay, we'll go with that until we think of anything different.
Yeah. Oh, do I have to say did I say what was in it?
You absolutely did not.
No, I did not. Okay. Let's get ahead of myself here. So for the rim, you have to use a mix of cinnamon sugar and flaky sea salt.
And don't skip that part.
No. It makes it. Then tequila, orange liqueur, apple cider, or sweet apple cider, lime juice, maple syrup, And then apple slice for garnish. I threw some cinnamon sticks in there. And then you mix it all up.
Bob's your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Would he rate it?
I'm going to rate it an 8.
Yeah, I think it's up there for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy.
You haven't had an 8 in a while.
No. For a while, I was like, are all the cocktails always going to be good? I feel like there was such a big chunk where it was just like 8, 9.
I think that was our Akamath coverage or a Court of Mist and Fury coverage where we had so many good drinks.
Yeah. And it was so hard at the end to be like, what's the number 1?
Exactly. I think during our Plated Prisoner run, we had a lot more duds.
Yeah. Way more. Where I'm like, is there actually a winner? I don't know.
Both of us lose.
Yeah. Stupid Hybern Heist song in my head.
It's a Hybern Heist. It's a Hybern Heist. I'm a really big fan of pushing people to read books.
You're a pusher.
And being a pest. Peer pressure. I'm a really big fan of peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure. And give us an update on our mother.
So you did pressure our mother. She said, Christine peer pressured me and forced this book upon me.
Okay, let's be clear though, because
she didn't actually
what
say
happened
that.
is you told me she was interested in trying the
I did.
Akatar series.
Yeah.
And so I was in the car with her one day soon after, and we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh yeah, I think you'd really like it, blah, blah, blah. And then I brought the book to her house.
Yeah.
Like weeks after. It wasn't like it was weeks after I happened
Showed
to
up
be
the
there.
next morning.
Showed up, no.
7 a.m.
And I brought her the book, and I was like, oh, here. And she's like, you want me to read this? And I said, yes. I would like to say she is exaggerating the amount of push I gave.
So I was like excited that you actually did give it to her. And then I went there today to pick up Carlos. And she was telling me how she had started it. She is so into it. She got really into cowboy romance I feel like she's been pretty into it for a couple years now.
Yeah, like the ones with the cowboys with the shirt off on the cover. Yeah.
And I think that was she just kept going back to that, and she's like, I was getting really bored. She does like her like history books too.
She does like those, yeah. Not like history books, but like
historical fiction. But she's like, oh, I'm just loving this so much. Like she's enjoying the writing and like the details, which I think means like the world like building portion of it. She's like, it's not as like smutty. Like I thought these books were super smutty. I was like, no. I'm like, everybody just assumes that. Yeah. But it's not. And she's like, no, it's very well written. And she's like, I couldn't put it down the other night. And then I was trying to figure out which part she was in. And then she goes, I don't know if she's going to end up with that Tamlin, though.
She didn't say Tamlin. She said,
or she called him something. Not Tamlin. Tommen, yes.
Or Tammin.
Tammin, something, yeah.
She never gets names right.
Tagger. I said, oh, Tam Tam? She's like, yeah, like, I don't know. She's like, I really want her to, though. But she's like, I just have a feeling. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, but I really like Lucian. I'm like, yeah, that's Christine's favorite.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. But then I got really excited and I said, oh, and then after this, you'll have to read The Plated Prisoner. And so we're just going to get her on board
slow
completely.
Down. Slow down. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. Maybe that I also pushed these books onto you in several other series, which we've spoken about before.
Yeah, it's great. I've tried to push this on other people.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of people to read Fourth Wing.
That's a good
like intro one to these kinds.
I think so too. That is a super easy read and you get into it super quickly.
Yeah.
Some people don't get hooked with A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yeah.
Super quickly, but I find Fourth Wing is a quick hook.
Yeah. I feel like especially for people who liked Harry Potter, I kind of sell it to them as like a little bit Harry Potter-ish.
But it's like a little bit older people. It's not.
Yeah. I said like a more mature Harry Potter style. So that usually gets people. So I've had a couple people like fly through those books and they're like, oh, I loved them. So I was like, okay, now hop on over to Akatar.
Now I am your go-to recommendation person as I had planned it all along. You will now follow
me on Goodreads.
I will give you a prescription for each series you will now read until the end of time because I know best.
Yeah, you're not reading anything else unless I say so.
I feel like I'm more like if someone brings it up to me and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about it or whatever. And then I'm like, yes, no, you must go to the store immediately. I will bring you where it's going like now. And you will go home and you will read them.
Yeah. Ignore your family.
Yeah, and then they're like, whoa, okay. No.
Do it.
And you are now in a group chat where you will tell us our thoughts as you read
Yeah,
them.
we need constant updates.
Jamie did say that we should bring our mother into a group chat, and I told her she will not comply with that.
No, I think she'll maybe randomly text us a thought.
I'm sorry if she's listening to this. She's not a great text. Like, I can't imagine her just, like, texting and talking about the book. She would just wait till she was in person, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Even because, like, we'll both watch Big Brother, and she'll maybe text and say, like, one sentence, but then when I see her, we usually...
Yeah, it's not a big conversation.
Did you watch Big Brother? No. No. Oh, such a good season. Best season they've had in a long time. Very chaotic.
No, I'm watching Love is Blind.
I'm also watching that.
You're watching that? Okay.
Yeah. I just got to where they're on the vacation part. So they're at the pool party.
Oh my, there's so much to come for you. There's so much to come.
I love the pods part because it's just so, like, wonderful and they're so in love, and I'm like, oh, it's just so
I like
sweet.
the vacation part because then I feel like a lot of people get immersed in the pod part, and because I've watched so many seasons of it and I've watched the different countries, I kind of understand that the pods, even though the intent is like we're gonna fall in love with each other and not see each other, and this is like so authentic, I do now see the pattern of that is not absolutely realistic for most of the couples, that they will go into the real life and they will discover more things about each other. In many instances, love is not blind, and also in many instances, people are kind of different in different environments. So, like, most people are not going to work out.
Which sucks.
You have to have at least... if there's not 2 couples that work out in a season, I'm disappointed.
Same. I actually did go back and look at who's still together. There's just one season where no one's together anymore.
I guess that's not that bad.
No. And I remember it was, like, there was 2 of them that got married, but they're both divorced. Anyways, very off topic.
Very off topic. Let's talk about A Court of Wings and Ruin. So chapter 6. Here's what happens in chapter 6 in a really quick summary. The keys go missing. Ianthe tries really hard, and then the gang checks out the hole again.
This whole, like, hole scouting is super weird.
It is.
Right? I'm like, what are you, like, you're just, like, feeling it? I'm like, I don't really...
They're trying to find the hole, the perfect place for the cauldron.
Yeah. So Tam's real bitter, obviously, after catching Feyre and Lucien in the bedroom after her nightmare.
Yeah, but nothing really happens, eh?
No. And I'm just like, Tamlin, like, you can't trust your best friend and, like, your almost wife?
No, apparently not.
Right?
No.
Like, I get, like, how he saw them was chaotic, but, like, he's still mad even after, like, understanding what happened.
Anyway, Ianthe's fine.
So funny.
Look, the land around the temple is dying. We must do something. What is happening?
I just love everyone's reaction to her.
Jurian rolls his eyes and went back to his bacon.
Yeah. And then Branna, like, go tell the gardener.
Yeah, go tell the gardener, and then her brother snickers into his tea.
Yeah.
They can see right through her, and yet somehow, I don't know, she misses it. But we know that she's trying to make up for what happened at summer solstice. She's, like, scrambling and trying to create these situations where she looks magical.
Yeah, I just feel like these first few chapters are just so comedic.
They are.
Like, so many reads of it. I'm just like, oh my god. And I think, like, and Farrah's loving it because she's like, I totally got under her skin. Like, she's freaking out now, trying to create this other, like, huge thing.
You're doing exactly what I wanted you to do. So this is where the headaches begin too.
Yes.
So I guess rereading this, I didn't catch it the first time. And this is one of those other situations where now looking back, I'm like, oh, that seems obvious. She keeps mentioning these headaches. Why didn't I catch on that the headaches were significant? Because I'm not smart all the time.
But she does say, like, she's been using her power, like, 24/7. So it would make sense that, especially for someone who hasn't had power that long, like, you don't really know the side effects. So I can see how she was just like, oh, I'm using my power so much. I'm drained, so I'm getting these headaches.
But she mentions it a bunch of times, so that's probably where I should have clued in.
Yeah, like, you keep mentioning it.
And so the gang the gang of Lucian, Feyre, Jurian, and
Oh,
the twins.
before we do that, I just love that we do solve the mystery of where Reese's
the wings.
mother and sister's wings are, because
Right.
Ianthe is who she is and says, "Oh, you should give back the wings or whatever."
So that Rhysand might leave us alone.
Yeah. And we do find out that Tamlin says that he burned them long ago. And I just love this kind of, I had just like a vision, because Feyre in her mind just envisioning smashing Ianthe's head into the floor. It just like reminded me of those like comedy things where it like flash to the side. And like you see like an actual thing of that like happening. Really
it reminds me of all those scenes where Feyre says something to Tamlin or whoever and then has a different commentary in her head. It's kind of similar, and it would be interesting to see visually, like in a series or a movie, right? Okay, so the gang is Lucian, Feyre, Jurian, and the twins. And we don't know if they're twins again, but we're gonna call them the twins. Are they twins? They don't say that.
I feel like in the first, when I was re-listening,
they don't say twins. They say brother and sister.
I swear they're twins.
Because we talked about this last
and then I was listening yesterday.
And they do say it?
Yeah, twins.
Okay, good. So we can call them twins. Okay, good. So let's check out the whole... I guess in this scene, what's important is the Feyre interrogating Lucian. So kind of like, why did you do it? Why did you do it, man? Why did you do it? Yeah. Why did you let Hybern in here? You know that's not a good idea. Mm-hmm. And she wants answers from Lucian. Why did you go along with this?
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of an explanation, right? Where Lucian just explains that he was kind of like backed into a corner. She was gone for a lot of months. And then he got that note that she sent for like, oh, no, I'm fine. Leave me alone.
Which made things worse, apparently.
The edge. Lucian was trying to get help from the day court, but they were taking too long in order to like break whatever the bond that Rhys and Feyre had, and so Tamlin was just like, well, I guess I have to do this. This is a last resort, and so Lucian's like, okay, especially after his encounter with her in the woods.
Yeah, he says kind of after that he finally like agreed,
but they couldn't. I guess Feyre's like, well, why can't we just like break it? But it's another one of those spell things where
how it's like it's old magic, but pretty much like you'll die. Someone will lose their magic. It's good. Like you just
they can't get out of it.
Yeah, you don't mess with it. And that we do find out how bad it was that when she left. How like we knew obviously Tamlin's gonna trash everything as he does.
Well, and she saw the bedroom, right?
Yes, and it was so weird how it was like covered in vines though. I'm still like that's weird.
Yeah.
Right?
It's magic.
Yeah, it's true. But that he killed the sentries.
That's wild.
That were on guard.
Wild.
Right?
Wild. I think to Under the Mountain and Tamlin seeing how distraught Feyre was in killing those innocents.
Yes.
And you'd think that he would absorb some of that. And obviously the Fae have their own how they feel about death. But you'd think seeing that would rub off on you a little bit, and you would maybe honor lives in a little bit higher regard.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you were supposed to be on duty, and then she was taken by Rhysand, the most powerful High Lord in history, and so they deserve death. It's
like obviously
what do you think they're gonna do?
Yeah.
Rhysand walked into your house without you knowing, and you're like the second most powerful High Lord. You couldn't stop him from doing what he wanted to do, and yet you're gonna kill these sentries who don't maybe have any power?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was just like, what? Not a good look, Tam.
He's just the same old guy.
Yeah.
He's the same old guy, and he's trying to...
I feel like he's gotten worse, honestly.
He's gotten worse. He's trying to pretend to Feyre that somehow he's doing something different, but we know he's not.
No. I think after, like, the Under the Mountain stuff, he got way worse. Clearly did not deal with any of the trauma and just...
Yeah. He's just the same as the last book.
Yep. But worse, because...
But worse, yeah.
Then we do see him get worse. There was one part where she kind of, like, caught Lucian saying something. Like, he was, like, gonna say something. And then she saw him, like, fix it. So there's, like, something he's fully not telling her, I feel.
I don't remember.
Oh. Okay. Well, I do. But he kind of, like, lies and, like, covers it up. So I'm just curious what that'll...
I guess we just end this chapter with the Children of the Blessed coming in.
Oh, they're back.
They need their own song.
Oh.
The children of the blessed.
I feel like it needs to be a little bit more upbeat. Like, remember that song we'd sing at church camp? Rise and shine.
Oh.
Something like that, but for like...
Children of the blessed, the glory, glory.
Yeah.
Church camp.
Yeah. You know, sing along. Pretty sure they still sing that song, too.
Chapter 7. The title here is Children of the Blessed are so fun. Feyre saves them, and then Jurian is so smart. I don't know why Sarah J. Maas didn't pick these titles.
Right? They're great.
Masters and mistresses, you have found us on your journey.
We have come to dwell in the immortal land. We have come as tribute.
We have come to live in peace.
Oh, no, you guys.
Oh.
That's just not what's gonna happen.
It's not what's gonna happen, but I love them as a character.
Yeah, so Feyre tries to scare them off and kind of gets in their minds.
She's getting so good with her power.
Right? Like, works so quickly.
And she says to Branagh, if you pursue them, then you and I will have a problem. And she's like being a bit aggressive with them. It's like she is trying to play this role of the damsel with Tamlin,
Mm-hmm.
but then in other ways she's showing her strength. It's like she's playing to each person as the person she needs to be with them. She's like a real shapeshifter.
Yeah. Also, I kind of like Jurian.
I love Jurian.
Right?
Well, this is, I mean, if you just see the title of this chapter, Jurian is so smart, I am seeing him in a positive favor.
But he does thank her. He knows, like, what she did to get into their minds to save the humans. And then he kind of mentions how, like, we worked so hard for them to not be, like, slaves and all of this. And then, like, you see them doing...
You see these people come over and not know the history. And that's disappointing. But Jurian, you also have to realize that humans have shorter lives.
Yes.
And so history gets lost,
Yeah.
especially when it's not translated and there's a separation between the Fae and the human world.
Yeah.
They are not getting the full history, I imagine.
Yeah.
And so Jurian also mentions in this conversation what his motives are. And so he's kind of having this conversation with Feyre. And so we do get confirmation that he is looking for Miriam.
Yeah.
That he is trying to coax her out of wherever she is. And obviously Feyre denies it, like, no, she's dead. And we know that she's not. But he's trying to coax her out of it. And so we do get confirmation of that.
Yeah, and then I do like that she even says, she's like, you got a second shot at life, and that's what you want to do, revenge. And he's like, isn't that what you're doing?
Yeah, he knows. He knows. He's a smart man.
Right? And, like, really, like, which I found interesting, because I think it's, like, going to, like, the Jurian Wink stuff. He's almost always just kind of watching. Like, I think he does really see what Feyre is doing.
He absolutely does. But I guess it really shows, too, that his allegiance isn't fully with Highburn.
No, it's just what serves him.
That he's a little bit
best.
just like whatever suits him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do get this quote from Jurian. So he's talking about Rhys. That's what they all say when they pretend he's a sadistic murderer. You forget I knew him in the war. You forget he raised his legion to save Miriam from our enemy's fort. That's how Amarantha captured him, you know. Rhys knew it was a trap for Prince Dracon. So Rhys went against orders and marched in his whole legion to get Miriam out. For his friend, my lover, and for that bastard Draken's sake. Rhys sacrificed his legion in the process, got all of them captured and tortured afterwards. Yet everyone insists Rhysand is soulless, wicked. But the male I knew was most decent of them all. Better than the prick prince. You don't lose that quality, no matter the centuries, and Rhys was too smart to do anything but have the vilification of his character be a calculated move. And yet here you are, his mate. The most powerful High Lord in the world lost his mate, and yet he has not come to claim her, even when she is defenseless in the woods. Perhaps that's because Rhysand has not lost you at all, but rather unleashed you upon us.
Ooh, I loved that part. I was like, yeah, you're right. But so earlier when they were going to leave and Tamlin was like deciding if he was going to go with them, and Jurian does say something to him like, because, Ianthe's like, well, what if Rhysand tries to capture? And Jurian kind of says like Rhys wouldn't do that. He's almost like assisting Feyre in a way.
Oh yeah.
which I thought...
Or he said something about, like, the borders being secure.
Yeah. When he's...
Which, obviously, he's contradicting himself here.
Yeah. Like, so he very much sees and knows what's going on. And I think even in the next few chapters, how they play out, there is kind of, like, just mentions of him and, like, what he's seeing or comments that he's made. And I just think he's very smart. He knows what's going on. He's not an idiot.
And that whole speech reminded me of a conversation that we had in a previous episode in A Court of Mist and Fury. Because I was talking about Tamlin formerly being Rhys's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And how he knows a lot about him and his kindness and all of that.
Yeah.
And how I was really confused how Tamlin is talking about Rhys and interpreting Rhys's behavior in such a way, even though he had such a positive experience that we can assume with Rhys.
Yeah.
Knowing him at his core, like Jurian is explaining.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Tamlin had a similar experience, I imagine, with Rhys, and yet he's sort of, we can't even say forgetting it, but maybe dismissing it. And so I guess it just speaks more to, like, Tamlin's shitty character that he doesn't keep that in mind.
Yeah. Like, you know better.
Because Rhys being a bad guy suits him.
Yeah.
It's in his favor that Rhys is the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to add, too, so I very much forgot that Jurian knew this.
Mm-hmm.
And so also in our A Court of Mist and Fury coverage at the very end when they're with the King of Hybern and all of that, I was mad at Jurian. So I was going off about, like, okay, well, Jurian, he had the eye, he was in the eye,
yeah.
He was on Amarantha's hand, and he saw Rhys and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
not even thinking that he knew him so well in the war, but how is he now so mad at Rhys? Because the Hybern was like, King of Hybern was like, oh, you can have Rhysand, that's going to be what you can have, Jurian.
Yeah.
And Jurian, like, was like foaming at the mouth to kill him. And so I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Why is he so mad at Rhysand?
Yeah.
This isn't even...
Yeah. But
that doesn't make sense.
He's mad.
Right? And so now we understand...
Yeah.
Okay, Jurian actually didn't give a shit about killing Rhysand. That was just, like, part of the game.
Or maybe he did, kind of. He's probably still pissed at him because he knows he's hiding Miriam and that he was...
Yeah. But I can't imagine he's like, I'm gonna torture him and slaughter like this. Doesn't.
No.
Yeah. Anyway... And I guess just at the end of the chapter, we learned that the twins slaughter the children of the blessed.
Yeah. Oh, I liked... They threw, which I think Lucian mentions, how they threw an immortal temper tantrum. Because they were told they couldn't have something. They weren't allowed to do something. So they were like, screw that, we're going to do it anyways. And yeah, Lucian said immortal temper tantrum. I just enjoyed them calling it. But that is what they did.
Exactly. Well, speaking of temper tantrums,
I really
Chapter 8 is called Tamlin Has a Tantrum, The Naga Break-In, and Ianthe is a Dummy.
Also, I was listening to the audiobook and they don't call it the Naga.
Oh, what do they say? Naga?
Naga.
Okay, fine, Naga.
I can't do it. It's not going to happen. I was like, that sounds completely incorrect. Anyways, this is a great roundup of the chapter, though.
Tamlin's really mad, and he's trying to... I feel like Lucian and Feyre are in chairs, and then Tamlin's like the really mean dad. And
That's like something like, Dad is pissed.
You guys did something I don't like.
You behaved like children.
Right, even though it's like his best friend and his partner. Like, Tamlin, this isn't how you deal with people. This isn't going to work, man, in the long run.
Yeah. So I guess, they sent the Naga they sent the bogey.
Oh, yeah, sorry. This isn't the Naga. We're talking about the bogey.
So they're like, at the end of the last chapter, Feyre's like, I know what I'm going to do.
It's the bogue.
Oh my god, right.
The audiobook told us it's the bogue.
Well, the bougie.
Oh, the bougie.
No. So to get back at them, her and Lucian sent the bougie.
I love it.
After them. Yeah.
I love it.
Didn't kill them, but was just like, hey, you're in our territory. Don't fuck around.
Taught them a lesson.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But Dad's mad, so...
Dad's mad. And so Feyre does more of her manipulation, and she tries to get Tamlin angry, which is really fun.
Yeah, she knows exactly what buttons to push. She's using her power to make sure the sentries outside can hear. She knows Lucian's still sitting outside, so he can hear everything. And yeah, just knows what to say and do, and she really doesn't have to do that much.
She doesn't have to try that hard,
No.
for sure. And the last line, so the final straw, she says, "You might be willing to get on your knees for Hybern, but I certainly am not." And so I thought, like, for someone like Tamlin, going for the jugular is emasculating him.
Yeah.
And highlighting his weakness.
Yeah.
It gets him every time.
Yeah.
He's just so
he has no control over
obvious. You tell him that he's getting on his knees for Hybern.
Yeah, and that's going to just set him right off.
And it did. It did. He explodes just like that scene in Akamath.
Yeah, she doesn't shield herself so that there is some aftermath to it. But she even does say, she's like, if I was still human, that would have killed me. Which is crazy.
Really fucked up, yeah.
That you're just doing that in a room with someone you're so in love with. Not even that, but like that you can't control your anger enough to not do that. Or wait till you're somewhere else and be angry. Not in control of yourself at all.
So Lucian comes and takes her away.
I do like that she names, you know how she likes to name portraits that she would paint?
Uh-huh.
And that she says she would name it a portrait in snares and baiting. Yes.
She's like just been injured and she's
just laughing in her head. I'm going to paint this and call it.
A really nice ending to it all is that she does get to talk to Reese a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm glad that you think this is funny. Like her being hurt and she sticks out her tongue and then he sends her an image of his tongue somewhere else.
Okay, so I had this and sends a picture of his tongue doing something else. Like, what else could his tongue be doing?
Are you making a joke?
No, like what, like if it's a picture.
Between her legs.
But they're not together.
He just sends, that's the image that he sends. She sends an image of her sticking out her tongue.
Like he's doing like a selfie kind of thing. So it's actually like of him.
Right, so he can send a memory. Yes,
I didn't put that together. I was like, what, like, if it's just him, it's like, what the hell is he doing with his tongue? It's like, I'm so confused. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna have more of this margarita.
Yeah, just have a sip of your margarita. This is so great. This is so great. So obviously we already had known from the beginning of this that the keys had been stolen, and then Ianthe sort of manufactured it that she was going to come in and save everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But actually she had just manipulated the situation. She had given away the keys and then made that sentry sort of go to sleep, and then she was going to rescue them, and then she's the best. But the sentry that fell asleep, Tamlin ends up punishing him. Which is more of this. What are we going to do this, Tamlin?
Yeah. I would also like to mention how Feyre has been feeding into like Braun and Hart this entire time too.
Yep.
Getting them to kind of see, like with the.
I have that at the beginning of chapter 9. If you want to leave it to them.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I was just saying that Tamlin sort of is handling things in the way that Tamlin handles them. It's like, I'm going to punish you and whip you, right? I try to think in these situations, too, like how Reese would handle it, and I can't imagine whipping someone when they've, like, made a mistake.
Yeah. Especially when it's, like, out of their character. It's never happened.
It's never happened before.
Like, isn't there, like, a 3 strikes rule or something? Or some other form of punishment?
Or, like, how about someone just, like, loses their job? Like, maybe that might be the worst thing.
Yeah.
you
and
know,
it's, like,
instead of, like, being physically violent.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm going to whip you and, like, and embarrass you in front of all your friends. And it's, like, these people that, like, Tamlin was in the war with, and they were more... How, like, Feyre even talks about, like, they're the ones that went over the wall for you and, like, did all of this. And this is how you're now treating them because you're just listening to everyone else. Mm-hmm. And what other people are telling you to do instead of making your own decisions. These
people have sacrificed their life for you.
Yeah.
And this kingdom, or this court, and now you're taking the side of this woman that has swooped in.
Yeah,
and,
who has betrayed you before.
Yeah.
And is, like, clearly...
But it's a big betrayal that Feyre highlights.
Yeah.
Very subtly, so that it's not really her fault, right? Which is masterful. So she unleashes the memory in that sentry's mind so he can remember that it actually was Ianthe.
Yeah.
And even though she's not successful in stopping the whipping from happening, which she knew she wasn't going to be able to do because Tamlin's urge to be in control and not look weak was going to win out.
Which she, like, subtly just set these up. He could have made a different choice and it wouldn't have gone that way. But true to his character, he's just making it so easy for her to...
She's just making an educated guess. This is the way that Tamlin thinks and behaves, and he's probably going to act in these ways, and he just, like, follows the bait.
And if you chose not to act like an asshole, these things wouldn't happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
I also just really have... Tamlin needs therapy.
Doesn't he?
I just kind of like how you do have here, which I think kind of says, like, his, like, need for control and him looking at others to make those, like, bigger decisions.
He's deferring to Ianthe, right?
Yeah. And then looking at what, like, the Highburn twins are, like, what they're saying, and instead of just, like, because he was focused on what Feyre was saying for a second, but then Ianthe's swooping, and then he's, like, seeing all these other things, and he's not...
It's like his ego wins out, too.
Yeah. And I
don't want to look weak.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to.
I'm a man. And then, so the whippings, and it said something like, through the foundations of the court. Why do I have that?
Well, I think there's some sort of quote at the end that, like, shakes the foundation.
Oh.
Right? Like, it's starting to
yeah, how
cracks.
it's going, and everyone's seeing all the things. Yeah, okay.
So it's not just with Lucien, it's not just with Ianthe, it's not just with Highburn, but it's creating cracks through everywhere. Okay, let's go to chapter 9. So chapter 9 is called More Brawn and Heart Manipulation, Alice is a Gem, Back to the Hole, and Saving Lucien. This is a big chapter.
Big chapter. I didn't realize that was all one chapter.
So, like you were saying, or we had spoken about before, like with the Brawn and Heart, she's really going in on getting them on her side.
Yeah. And so, like, how they were outside of the room when Tamlin smashed everything. And even, like, the next day, I think she was riding around on the horses with them and, like, wincing. So they could really see, like, how much pain she was in.
And she stays with the guard who was whipped and helps the healer. So they apologize to her and for everything that was done. And so Feyre knows that her plan is working. So there was a line in here that was alarming for me. So she says about Brawn and Heart, she says, if I had asked them, they would have handed me their own knives to slit their throats.
I think that was like, because she was talking about how, like, remorseful they were. Like, it just seemed like they, like, felt so bad.
I know, but it was a little bit like Feyre. I don't know if they're that dedicated to you that they're gonna kill, but it's like Feyre.
Don't get in your head, Feyre.
A little too far, Feyre. Okay, now one of my favorite scenes is Alice.
Oh, I know. I just have Alice crying.
Alice tells Feyre that she's leaving with her nephews and she's going back to the summer court, and so this did make me cry. Now I am a little hormonal this week, and so that was probably played into it, but still, it was beautiful for me. Alice has a special place in my heart.
Right.
And so this was the first scene, too, with Alice, that she's not denying anything, because we know that Alice had that other scene where she's like, hey, I know what you're doing, Feyre.
Yeah.
I know that you weren't some tortured, captured person at the night court.
Yeah, but so very Feyre, much like, I think you came back how you were supposed to be.
You seem better.
Yeah, much healthier.
And so Feyre finally is not denying anything, and Alice says, it has been too long since I saw my home.
I know the feeling, Feyre says.
Alice says at another point, she says, blood rubies or no, you will always have one friend in the summer court.
And then Feyre responds, and you will always have one in mine. She knew which court I meant and did not look afraid.
Aww.
And she also, like, packs her, like, a specific bag.
Yeah, she's like, I know you're leaving.
Yeah, because then I was like, oh, what's in this bag?
Yeah.
There's like more things because she meant
just
to
some
begin
extra
later.
Underwear and some bread, maybe.
Yeah, but this was just, and I can't even remember if we do see her again.
I know. I was trying to think. Does she come back?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just really loved their relationship over these last few books.
You stupid human girl.
Oh, I mean that's how you read her.
Hey, I still liked it.
Right.
Let's go back to the hole.
I just love she ends up sharing a tent with Ianthe. And like, she's like, oh, I have to wait to kill her, but she still wakes up, like, holding her knife.
Mm-hmm.
And Ianthe wakes up, and Feyre's just sitting there holding her knife, like, staring at her. It's like, what a sight to wake up to.
Mm-hmm.
That's super fun.
And she says, what does she say? Like something like, you're not being too careful with your enemies here. And she's like, Hybern is not our enemies. And she just smiles at her and leaves.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay.
Whoa.
It's like, you're really messing with her now.
Well, things you'll do when you know that you're leaving.
Yeah.
She has this chat with, why can I ever remember the name? Branoff and...
I'd say Branagh.
Branagh and Dagden?
B&D.
B&D.
Yeah, let's call them B&D. Or the twins.
She gets a bunch of information from them, and so...
They really gave that up.
They really
did. Like, a lot.
But she also was like... She knows how to speak to them in terms of, like, making them feel like they're stupid so that they have to explain themselves, and so...
Also, at that point, they just probably want to keep her talking because she's eating that apple.
That's too. They're also smart.
Yeah. I do like when she's eating it, she calls... took a bite of the hunk of white meat, she calls part of the apple.
Yeah, I have never heard of apple as meat.
Hunk of white meat. That's what I call the drink?
A hunk of white meat. Yes!
Right?
Yes, we found it.
Perfect. Okay.
But so she gets all the information she needs to know for them. She's like, okay, I think this is the moment. Let's get this going. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say until Safe Lucian.
I just do like she does go and take Tamlin's Illyrian blades from his tent.
Oh,
with
yeah.
her. And I was like, yes, he doesn't deserve those.
She does take the blades.
Yeah,
good for her.
Yeah, he's out with Ianthe, and so he had left them because they were too heavy or something. So she goes and takes them with her.
But then she comes across Ianthe and Lucian, and Ianthe has him pinned and has those, whatever they are, those
They're
stone
like
things
that Hybern has that can drain your magic.
Exactly. So it seems like you're a lot closer to Hybern than
right? Like, why do you have that? Gross, Ianthe. That's
so
what
gross.
you're like using that
for. She's a predator.
Right?
She's such a predator. And obviously we already knew that with the thing that Rhysand told us with his memory of her, but this is just like more and more confirmed.
Well, like just like in the middle of the day when everyone's out like that, like just doesn't feel any shame that I'm gonna do this, and has tricked herself in her mind to like believe, oh, it's this game that we're playing.
Which Feyre sees, because when she infiltrates her mind, she sees that Ianthe is able to convince herself that, like, oh, this is a fun game. When someone says no, it means, like, oh, we're just, playing
a little bit of cat and mouse. I'm like, poor Lucian, leave him alone. I hated it. I hated it for him.
Yeah, so Feyre's mad.
That's right, she is.
Rightfully so. She uses her power to get into Ianthe's head, and I love her quick thinking and how she just is able to, like, take control and...
Yeah, and she makes her smash her hand with a rock, the hand that she had on Lucian's chest, and to keep smashing the rock over and over, and then is kind of just telling her, like, you will never do this again. I mean, she made her, like, a lot of different rules, which were great.
A lot of rules. Never touch anyone against their will.
And then, like, continues, like, you will not remember what happens here. Like, you'll tell the others this.
Yeah,
you
fell down.
Yeah, you just fell. Really hard fall.
Tumble.
That you can see a healer to set the bones, but not erase the scarring, and just goes on so that every time you look at it, you remember that you can't do this, and...
Basically,
like,
this feeling that someone is, you don't know exactly what happened, but you will always be, like, a little bit scared. Like...
Yeah. It's just like, you can stop now, like, she stops. I do like, she does say to her, I debated slitting your throat this morning. I debated it all last night while you slept beside me. I've debated it every single day since I learned you sold out my sisters to Hybern. I smiled a bit. But I think this is better punishment, and I hope you live a long life, Ianthe, and never know a moment's peace.
And so Lucian is just observing this. And so when you think about it, because some of this is just, and I don't know for sure how much of it she's saying out loud and then just saying to Ianthe
Yeah,
in her
like
head.
in her mind.
So if you can imagine just as Lucien observing this and then just seeing Ianthe smashing her hand and Lucian's like, what is happening? But then obviously he gets context because the twins walk in and say, oh, that's a Demonte.
Yeah.
To explain it to you. Lucien, because he's confused. How is this happening?
What's going on?
So chapter 10, the title is Twin Battle and Fucien Escapes. And yes, they do now have a couple name.
Good. I think deserve it.
They're not a couple, but they are a dynamic duo.
Yeah. These last few chapters I've really enjoyed their friendship and their team up being back together.
With the bogey or the bogue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think even like him going into the office and like protecting her and be like, Tamlin, like what the fuck? Like he's actually vocally saying that to Tamlin as before he wouldn't.
It's like she's kind of like a good influence where he was alone with Tamlin for so long and Tamlin was his best friend.
Yeah.
And so now that Feyre is here, he kind of like has an ally, even though he doesn't fully trust her, but at least it like kind of takes him out of that stupor.
Yeah, like there's still like secrets between them, but they do have this friendship that I really love.
So this twin battle is super epic.
Yeah.
Because we learned that the twins have also been plotting and that maybe not Feyre's not as sneaky as she thinks she is because they know. But also, or just like Ianthe and Tamlin are stupid. Like, I'm not sure if Feyre is like, oh, I saw that other people were going to know, or if Feyre thought she was really sneaky, maybe a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we learned that they have been poisoning her food.
It started with they got Ianthe to do it.
Yeah, Ianthe was participating,
Shocker.
And like, oh, it was really easy to do it. We didn't have to manipulate her or anything.
Yeah. She was just really wanted to help out.
And you know what? I thought too, I didn't see this the first time around.
No.
And sometimes I forget things, obviously, that I just like, oh, I forgot that happened. But I actually genuinely think I I didn't see the first time that Ianthe was helping in this capacity.
Yeah.
That she was actually crushing and putting Feybane into her and Lucian's food.
And when this part happens, then I was just so like almost content with her having her hand smashed like that and all that.
Like, yeah.
And I was like, now I'm more mad.
Yeah. Now you understand it's more deserving.
Yeah. Now we need more things to happen to her.
Mm-hmm. So that apple, that very important apple that is a part of our drink today.
Yes.
What are we calling it again?
White meat. Hunk of white meat.
Hunk of white meat. That is from the King of Hybern's personal garden.
I need to write this down.
You really do. Don't forget it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's super smart on the King of Hybern's part. Growing apples that are fed water laced with Feybane?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But anyway, Feyre attacks. And there's this big like winnow battle. If you imagine like the
I love that part.
It's like super fast.
Right before that, Lucian's kind of like catching on to but he does, because she's debating with herself like, I can't just leave him like still. And then he does look at her and he says go, and then she winnows, and I'm almost like, is she just winnowing away? Because I forgot. And then that's when this cool winnowing
but it's
battle.
Also that thing where Lucien doesn't understand her capabilities yet.
Yeah.
Right, so he's kind of in shock when he sees her winnowing and battling with them and being equals, like being able to go up against them.
Yeah,
and
like, oh, you're not just dying.
She's been trained by Cassian and kind of knows what to do within her training. So Lucien doesn't know those things. So obviously he's trying to protect her.
Yeah, I know. It's just like I love the shock of it.
Oh shit! Wait, you may be more capable of winning this battle.
I'll just be over here, I guess.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like getting distracted, and then Lucien goes over and.
Oh, Lucien beheads Branagh.
I like how you look shocked.
I just like forgot that happened.
Oh. Yeah, because then Branagh's distracted with Feyre and the other twin. That I'm not gonna. Yeah, and then doesn't even see Lucien coming.
Yeah, and then when Dagny goes to attack Lucien, Feyre steps in and gets him through his eye and pushes the knife into his skull.
Right?
Whoa.
So good.
It is very much like Feyre's like early hunting experiences. Really set her up.
Right? Thank God for
Even
that.
though it's like super dark.
Yeah.
So Fucien escapes. Lucien realizes that she's planning to go back to the night guard, and obviously he sees like, oh, you took all of Tamlin's knives and stuff. He takes the context clues, says that he's going with her. He says you won't make it on her own, and he wants to get his mate back. And he says, "You were right. The girl that I knew did die under the mountain." Because he said that earlier in this book.
Yeah.
Or she said it earlier in the book, the girl that you knew died under the mountain. And so he's seeing that now. You're very, very different.
I also do like when they're talking about where to go, like the different spots, just different things. She just has this like war mind of thinking, like how like it just really noticed it. Like she's capable of thinking in those different ways. Do you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say?
She's strategic?
Yes, thank you. Strategic. Yes, very strategic in which ways to go and what to do and what, even with the planning of this whole part and putting stuff into people's minds. Like, love you, girl.
Well, she's kind of she's been on her own.
Yeah.
She's had to do things on her own and figure it out herself, and had a lot of alone time in the woods, and you sort of, yeah.
But I thought, just, which I think we talked about the last time, how she was just able to plan this all out, like even the escape of I'm going to say like this and this happened and plant it into their minds. And I do like, so Fucien goes into the caves to the autumn court.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the last line you have.
Yeah. So in the distance, so faint, I thought I might have imagined it. A beast's roar cleaved into the land.
Definitely didn't imagine it.
Yeah, so obviously
he lost.
Tamlin realized she was gone.
Yeah, and with his BFF.
Oh.
It's not gonna be good.
I'm excited to see him again. What will happen?
Do you think he takes a turn uphill?
No, it doesn't get better.
No,
it doesn't get better. Spoiler. Okay.
Well, we're off to the autumn court. Casting call. Casting call.
Casting call.
Woo.
Aquar. I am so excited to announce that we have finally gotten to Brawn and Heart.
Yes.
We talked about this a few times.
Yeah.
In Akamath, and I think, are they in Akatar too?
Yeah.
But we just
knew they would continue to come up.
Yeah, we just had so many other castings.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just been neglecting them.
Yeah.
And so finally we get to them. Our mans.
Yeah.
Brawn and Heart. The dynamic duo. Do you want to go first, or?
I have Dave Franco and Adam Devine.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Right?
Are they friends?
I think so.
They have to be in a movie together.
I feel like they are.
If they're not, then they need to be.
Right? I feel like Dave Franco was in a movie with Zac Efron. Adam Devine was in a movie with Zac Efron.
Yeah.
And they were always like kind of duos in it.
Okay.
But I don't know if they were actually in one together.
Well, I love it.
Thank you. I was very excited for that one.
I love that. Wow, I'm surprised by that. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's like, oh god. If you say the Smiths.
Jada and Will. No, it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Okay, that's actually great though.
I think they would do a great job.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Like them now? Before. Or like Good Will Hunting days?
I'll take either.
Yeah.
I'll take either. I think either way they would just
Okay, they're a great Brawn and Heart.
They've been in movies together, and then we also know that they're real life best friends, so they don't have to fake the camaraderie.
Yep.
And I feel like they're really good at playing like bleeding heart men that are going to, stick up for the woman. So
I love it. Great choice.
Thank you.
Bravo.
I do want to add, we had different castings for Ianthe. I feel like we said so many people for Ianthe.
Yeah.
And my original one that I had been imagining while reading the book was Juno Temple,
Mm-hmm.
who was also my Risa in the Play Prisoner series. But I think I ended up casting someone else.
Yeah, you did.
But I do want to go back on that because I can't stop imagining Juno Temple as I'm reading this. I want to give it back to her. I want to give it back to her, even though if other people are confused, I don't care. The other thing I wanted to mention, I did see someone cast Ianthe as Amanda Seyfried, which I don't think we mentioned.
Oh, I don't know. She would be good at that, though.
But I just thought I was like, oh, yeah, that's a
good one.
Yeah, that's a good one, too.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's all.
Other than our MVP.
MVP!
Okay. I do need to give my MVP to Fucien.
Yeah. Oh, do we need Fucien t-shirts?
We need Fucien t-shirts.
Yeah.
Fucien did a lot of things in this.
They did.
In this episode.
They really did.
I mean, aside from the bedroom fiasco, Lucien did comfort her when the whipping was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Feyre was being manipulative, there's still that camaraderie connection there where it isn't entirely fake.
Which she does say, too. Like, it's... Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like, a lot of it is that, but she says, like, it's a lot, like, real. And, like, she does feel bad because she does consider him to be a friend.
Well, even, like if you've had a friend of the opposite sex that it's genuinely platonic, you do see this in its friendship, even when they're in the tent and, like, she's cuddling with him for warmth.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like either of them see it in that way.
No, like, you don't get that at all.
They're friends, even though they don't trust each other right now. And then they do the Children of the Blessed thing together where they see that horrible thing happen and they send the Bogue after the twins.
The bougie.
And then they do the Great Escape.
Yeah.
And they kill the twins and they escape.
Yeah, and she almost, like, didn't see that. But when she came across it and how she was just like, I need to just go. But obviously she's just like, I can't just.
She needs to stop Ianthe, but she needs to save her friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I love the duo and I can't wait to see them as they continue their journey through the Autumn Court.
I second that. Also, just shout out to Jurian. I mean, he didn't do much, but he winked a few times.
He was my runner-up, for sure.
And I feel like he is doing a lot of, like, selfish type things. Obviously, he has his own motivators. But for someone who was just stuck in a ring for years, he's very aware and is really just seeing things. And I don't know why I like him, but I just like him.
He's not as cuckoo as we originally thought.
Yeah. He has some great one-liners. And yeah, I don't know, there's something about him, I just like him.
I like him too.
Yeah.
Even though he's a little bit cuckoo in terms of the Miriam stuff.
Yeah.
We do see that he has a lot of actual, like, logic and a good head on his shoulders in some other ways. So I'm also excited.
Yeah, like, I don't think he's 100% evil.
I would also like to add that Jurian is James Marsden for me, if you haven't listened to the Akamath episodes.
Have you heard about them?
Yeah, I still imagine James Marsden.
Both great picks, but I can't unsee him as...
If you are not already, follow us on social medias, which is the Instagram and the TikTok. We post our drink photos there. We post clips there. We post reels that we try hard at. Yeah.
I'm getting better at mouthing words.
Jamie, you're getting so good at mouthing words.
Thank you.
So we would like to meet you there. And then also if you're, listening to this, obviously follow. And if you're able to give 5 stars, it's incredibly helpful. Yeah.
And your opinions. Always love to hear opinions about stuff that we talk about. And
Okay, toodaloo.
See you in the Autumn Court.
Oh, are we going to get a fall drink? Maybe.
Oh, what a perfect time to be in the Autumn Court. Because we are currently in autumn.
Yes. Happy Halloween. Sort of. Not yet. Or maybe once it's posted.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.